Benjamin Netanyahu, in a last-minute move, managed to convince the Haredi factions not to vote in the favor of dissolving the Israeli Knesset. Last minute, Benjamin Netanyahu met with Yuli Edelstein, the man who is leading these negotiations, sat with him, sat with the leaders of the Haredi movements, and they agreed that we won't vote on it now. So, for the moment, we're talking about a delay. Why? Because they haven't reached an agreement on the law itself. So this is giving Benjamin Netanyahu more time to try and come up with this new formula that they will agree upon. For example, very limited sanctions, or delayed sanctions, or a more limited call for conscription, or any type of formula that both sides will agree upon. Because from the Haredi perspective, they're understanding that Israel is in crisis. The IDF is in crisis. The IDF is crumbling. The IDF is collapsing. They would have never went this far in trying to force conscription upon the Haredi community, unless it was for the fact that they are facing a crisis, a major crisis. Over half of those being called for the army are refusing to serve. People who are currently serving are outright refusing orders and calling for others to refuse orders. The recent letter that I spoke with you about yesterday, with 41 officers and soldiers publishing another letter saying that what the Israeli government is demanding from the IDF is illegal, therefore we cannot serve in the Israeli army. All of that is evidence that Israel is imploding. The Israeli army is diminished. I mean, the IDF, well, what's remaining of the IDF? A few clans here and there. Amateurs being sent to the Gaza Strip to be destroyed by the Palestinian resistance fighters. There's no campaign, there's no progress on the ground. The only campaign that they're having is against people and bakeries and people seeking aid, infants and, hospitals, houses, children's toys. These are the attacks of the depraved Israeli terrorists in Gaza, not the Palestinian resistance. The Palestinian resistance is wiping the floor with them. They're putting their heads in the sand in Gaza. They're burying them in the tunnels whenever they see a tunnel opening. So that's the situation. And that's why he's trying to force the Haredi community to serve in the army. But clearly now, he bought himself some time. He managed to convince, primarily, by the way, Yuli Edelstein, who's from his Likud party, the same man who wasn't given any concessions. He's the same man who was saying, I am not going to give them any break. I'm going to go all out with them. Now, was this an attempt from the core, it was coordinated with Benjamin Netanyahu, leave any sort of concessions up until the last second? Or was the man sincere in his approach? Again, there's reason to believe here in this case that this might have been coordinated, because you show them that there is no way out. You're going to have to go to the Israeli army. And in the last second, if we really, really need to, we will tell them, look, give us a week and we will try and sort it out. And the following thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the activists who are still held in Israel. Rima Hassan and Tiago, they refused to sign this letter, who were on the Madeleine ship to Gaza. They refused to sign an Israeli document to be deported from Israel. Now, Greta Thunberg and others as well, they signed the document and they were deported. Several others are not signing and they're going on a hunger strike too, for their own reasons. The document states that, well, you're banned from visiting the country for 100 years or so, and a couple of other things. But they, for their own reasons, have decided that they don't want to sign anything. They just want to be removed. But Israel is trying to force them to sign. And as a matter of fact, they told Rima Hassan, we'll smash your head against the wall. The Israeli police came to her and told her, if you don't sign the deportation documents, we'll smash your head against the wall. And then she went on a hunger strike. Now, the irony here and the bizarre thing is the fact that this is not getting enough coverage, and these people are not getting the adequate support from their own countries. Like for this example, from France. Israel kidnapped these people illegally from international waters when they were on the way to send aid to a jurisdiction that doesn't even belong to the state of Israel. The contrary, we had some mainstream media outlets telling you that, oh, these people are, supporting Hamas and all the typical garbage, typical garbage that they spew every time without contextualizing anything and without defending their basic human rights. They are entitled to go to the Gaza Strip. They are entitled to go and try and get aid in. And they're also entitled to go to the Gaza Strip because it's, technically, it doesn't belong to Israel. But and Israel confirmed that they evacuated, they took the ship, by the way, because it was breaching a naval blockade. So Israel confirmed that it's imposing a blockade on the Gaza Strip. The same blockade that it has been imposing for a very long time. Moving on to the following thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Britain and several other countries imposed sanctions on Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir. The British Foreign Secretary tried to call the Israeli Foreign Minister. Why? He tried to call him to convince him, listen, don't be sad. We're just imposing sanctions. It's just a theatrical move because we have a lot of pressure internally and we don't want people to criticize us so much. And, please don't be sad. But didn't really go well with the Israeli foreign minister. As a matter of fact, he refused to accept the call from his British counterpart, from the Foreign Secretary David Lammy, who wanted to update him on the decision to impose sanctions on Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. So Israel is boycotting England now, boycotting the UK back. You want to sanction them? I'm not going to talk to you. You want to explain yourself? Don't explain yourself. I'm not happy with you. Don't talk to me. Although, again, these sanctions, okay, any move towards sanctions is a positive move, but sanctioning someone for inciting violence and not sanctioning someone ordering and committing a genocide, it's not really convincing. And it's not really convincing because of this too. Over 300 of the Foreign Office staff in the UK showed the government, we're not happy with your situation in Gaza. We're not happy about your position. Foreign Office tells them what? You're not happy? Resign. Consider resigning. Over 300 staff, I had this report here. More than 300 Foreign Office staff raised concerns about potential UK complicity. And by the way, the UK isn't complicit. The UK is a participant. But they were worried, raising concerns about UK complicity in Israel's conduct in Gaza. They were told, if you profoundly disagreed with the government policy, you could consider resigning. So that really clarifies to you how genuine the British authorities are in relation to Gaza. The staff letter seen by the BBC was sent to the Foreign Secretary David Lammy last month. In it, officials questioned the UK's continued arms sales and what they called a stark disregard for international law by Israel. Foreign Office says that it had systems for staff to raise concerns, and added that the government had rigorously applied international law in relation to the war in Gaza. The reply to the staff letter was sent from Sir Oliver Robbins and Nick Dyer, the two most senior civil servants in the Foreign Office. They told the signatories, if your disagreement with any aspect of government policy or action is profound, your ultimate recourse is to resign from the civil service. This is an honorable course. The response was met with outrage, according to the official who signed the letter. There is frustration and deep sense of disappointment that the space for challenge is being further shut down, said the official, speaking on condition of anonymity. Well, if some people were convinced that there was a genuine shift there, that's clearly showing you that not really, because if the United Kingdom's government, the British authorities, if they were serious about taking action, well, they could have taken actions a very long time ago. The Israeli foreign minister, he met with European leaders last month. And in his meeting with European leaders, they told him, seriously, Israeli foreign minister, if you don't stop the war in Gaza, you might be facing consequences such as sanctions. The Israeli foreign minister returned to Israel, and he started to say that, listen, guys, these Europeans, they're serious. And if Europe imposes sanctions on Israel, that's a disaster. We will be destroyed as a country. What does that prove? Well, that they're still supporting them, because they haven't been imposing sanctions yet so far, and they have the capacity to impose sanctions. And so far, so long as they haven't imposed sanctions, that means, well, they're complicit. You're still trading with them, and you're still trying to pretend like you are doing something else. And again, every move towards the right direction is welcome, but really, come on, let's be serious. Let's do what needs to be done. And the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about, the genocide soldiers inside of the Gaza Strip are so immature, so amateur, and so untrained, and so stupid that they shoot each other. It's not the first time, by the way. There were many reports previously of Israeli soldiers killing each other inside of the Gaza Strip. But now, Israel is publishing more information. One of them was this bit of information here. Look at that. The serious incident that was hidden. Ooh, what else did you hide? That was hidden. An officer was identified as a terrorist and injured by the IDF. So he was identified for who he is. What's the problem? An officer was identified as a terrorist. He is a terrorist. Anyway, an officer was identified as a terrorist and injured by IDF fire. A company commander in the Kfir brigade was injured by gunfire from an IDF force near Rafah who mistakenly thought he was a terrorist. He is a terrorist. What's wrong with you? He was moderately to seriously injured and taken to hospital, but the IDF did not issue a public statement about it. And he's currently being hospitalized after being hit by a bullet that penetrated his body and wounded him during operational activity in Rafah on Sunday. As in maybe part of the activity where they were shooting people going to try and get some flour or aid. That's the activity. Or going to people's houses, looting children's toys or women's underwear. The incident occurred in broad daylight, again proving how the level of idiocy and lack of proper training of these people. They send people who are not trained, by the way, and they send people with PTSD and mental illnesses too. In the morning hours, during a routine attack led by the Kfir Brigade's combat team on a Hamas area in the outskirts of Khan Yunis, an infantry force mistakenly identified the company commander, who was inside a building, as a terrorist. Come on, I told you he is a terrorist. You haven't mistaken him. It's the correct term for him, a terrorist, and fired at him. They're doing the resistance job now. Not only that the Palestinian resistance has been wiping the floor with them, now they're doing them a favor. Okay, morning routine check to try and find women's underwear and children's toys, and try and find an innocent person looking for food to shoot. But accidentally, I shoot my colleague.